Thanks for stopping by. I'm so happy you're here. Today we're going to make gluten-free Swedish meatballs with dairy-free cream sauce. It's going to be so delicious. It makes a great appetizer, just the balls and the sauce, or you can serve it as a meal over pasta with potatoes. It's just absolutely delicious. I started with the IKEA recipe that I found online. I switched it up, made it gluten and dairy-free, added some spices to bring some more flavor to the party, and this is one of my favorite dishes. So we're going to jump right in. But before I do, I want to talk about mise en place. If you've watched our videos and gone to the website and seen the recipes, you're going to see that phrase thrown around a lot. And it basically means put everything in its place. And in cooking, it means get all your stuff ready before you start cooking. And as you can see, I have a ton of mise en place. This is I won't say complicated, this is a multi-step recipe with 3 elements. And if you don't get everything together and organized, you could find yourself in the weeds deep into the recipe, which you don't want. So I have all my meatball ingredients here, all measured out into separate prep bowls, and you'll see later when we put this together how easy it is. Here I have my creamer, which we're going to add some flavor to. We'll talk about that. And then behind me, I've got all the ingredients for the cream sauce, and I also have all my pans ready to go. So I urge you to mise en place as much as you can, especially with a more complicated or difficult or involved recipe. So that's out of the way, let's get started. The first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna flavor our ripple. What that means is our cream sauce has heavy cream in it, and because we're dairy-free, obviously we don't have heavy cream. But my favorite heavy cream alternative, plant-based, is Ripple. The only problem with Ripple and every other heavy cream is it has a sweetness to it. We do not want that sweetness in our meatballs or in any savory dish that we're working with. So what I do is I add the Ripple with some other ingredients. I simmer it for about 15-20 minutes, and that kind of infuses these other flavors into the Ripple and gets rid of or masks that sweet flavor. If you have found a dairy-free heavy cream that does not have sugar or any flavor like that in it, please use it for this recipe, and please let me know because I haven't found one yet. So before we start any other part of the recipe, we want to get this simmering. So I have the Ripple, which I want to show you this. The reason why I love the Ripple so much is see how it coats the spoon. That has great consistency, and that's one of the aspects of heavy cream that you need, obviously flavor too. And so to that, I'm adding a little bit of beef stock, a smashed clove of garlic that's just gonna sit in here and steep and add that garlic flavor. I don't want to chop it, mince it, and put that in here. That will come out later. A little bit of salt and a little bit of pepper. I'm going to mix this together, and I'm going to go put it on the stove at about medium high to get some bubbles going, then immediately turn it down to low and let it simmer, like I said, for about 15-20 minutes. Okay, the Ripple is simmering and flavoring behind me, so now it's time to make the meat part of the meatballs. In the bowl I have some ground beef and ground pork, and to it we are going to add a bunch of ingredients that's going to make it extremely yummy. First, I've got some gluten-free breadcrumbs. We make our own from our bread and baguette recipe, but there are tons of gluten-free breadcrumbs available, brands available at the store, so use any one of those. Do not use one that's flavored like Italian or something, because that'll bring a kind of a weird flavor to these Swedish meatballs. Now I'm going to add 2 eggs. And some unsweetened cashew milk. Okay, before I add everything else, I'm going to get in here, and I like to use my hands. If you want to use a spoon, go ahead, but I'm kind of an all-in with my hands kind of person. I just want to get this distributed, especially the egg, get it broken up, mixed through here. Now I'm adding the onion. I have about a large onion, and I'm just going to add some of it because I may not use it all. Whenever a recipe calls for an onion, hopefully they say large, medium, small, but even then that's variable. So always cut what you think you're going to use, but don't always throw it in, just kind of judge as you go. Garlic and some yummy spices. I've got celery salt and nutmeg, allspice, and ginger. And now I'm going to mix again. I've mixed it all together. It looks really good. I'm glad I didn't put all those onions in because I think the distribution of onions is quite wonderful. So now I'm going to add a little bit of salt and pepper. I'm not going to worry too much about how much salt and pepper because we're going to do a test patty to make sure our seasoning is just right. The last thing you want is to make up all your balls, you cook them, you eat them and go, oh man, I needed some salt, or I needed some pepper, or I needed something. So I'm going to mix this through here, make up a test patty, and then we're going to go see what this tastes like. So I made a small meatball and then I flattened it out and I heated some olive oil on the pan, so I am going to cook this up. While that's cooking, I'm going to check my flavored ripple situation going on here. I'm mixing it. You will get a little bit of a film that on the top, no big deal, just mix it in, it's fine. Okay, let's see what this tastes like. Okay, we're almost there. I'm probably going to let that simmer about 5 more minutes, but I've gotten the bulk of the rippleness out of it. I didn't want the flavor, I just wanted the consistency. I did want a little bit of creaminess, which it does bring. So 5 more minutes on that and we should be done. This patty will not take too long to cook. Oh, look at that brown. Oh, yeah. Okay, I have a cooked patty. Let's see what this thing tastes like. Oil hot. It's really delicious. It needs a bit of salt. I'm so glad I did this test patty. Okay, so I'm going to add some salt. And if this happens to you and you need more salt, you can add salt, mix it up, do another test patty, or add some salt and know that you're probably going to be okay. It's your choice. I kind of know from all my cooking how much salt I need based on what I tasted there. So I'm not going to do another test patty. So I'm going to mix this up and then we're going to start making the actual meatballs. So I'm using a scoop. I forget what the number is, but I'll put a link to it below. But I'm not going to fill up the whole scoop. It's going to be about 3/4 full because I'm using these balls for appetizers. So I think that's a really good size. So I'm going to add them. I've put some spray on the parchment paper here just so they don't stick. I don't think they will, but I'm not taking any chances. Let's see, that's a nice size actually. I think that one, no, it's about the same size. Okay. So it's going to scoop all these out. I have all the balls formed and I have some sunflower oil heated up in this cast iron pan. Now when I use cast iron, I like to put my, my handle protector here because I always seem to grab the pan and it gets a little warm. And I also have a hot pad close by because trust me, I've done this the hard way. I've hurt myself. So I'm going to fill the pan. I'm not going to overcrowd, but I'm going to get quite a few of them in here. And the goal here is to brown all sides of the meatballs. Once they're brown, then we're going to put them in the oven to finish them. They look so pretty. Look at that. Okay, so I checked that one. It is nice and brown, so I'm going to turn it over. And I think I remember the process or the direction of which I put them in. That's how you're going to want to turn them. And if I don't, then that's okay too. Okay, so we're good. This is not a long process. So now I'm turning them on their sides. I'm working at about medium high here. You see they're not taking very long. Getting the sides is a bit of a challenge, so just get as much of the ball browned as possible. Because what that's going to do, it's going to give you so much more flavor. It's going to seal in this delicious brown goodness, and that is all flavor. Because you're not going to get this nice searing in the oven. It's just going to cook it all the way through. Okay, mostly it is all browned. I'm very happy with them. I'm going to remove them from the pan directly to the pan they came from, which is okay because you have raw and you have not raw, because this pan is going in the oven. All the meatballs are brown and it's time to go in the oven for their final cook. We're set at 350 degrees. Probably going to take 15 or 20 minutes or until they are cooked through. I'm going to check them at about 15 minutes. While the meatballs are in the oven cooking, we are going to make the cream sauce. First, we're going to get the butter, or earth balance in this case, into the pan and get it melted. Kind of help that along a little bit. I've got the heat set at about medium, a little like medium high, just a few slots above medium. Now that the butter or earth balance is all melted, I'm going to add in the all-purpose, it's our cooking blend, which is similar to an all-purpose, and you're going to whisk for 2 minutes. What we're doing is making a roux, and this is going to make that sauce so creamy and delicious. Okay, so I've been stirring or whisking here for about 2 minutes. It's just about ready to start adding other ingredients. As you can see, the roux has went from a nice light blonde to a much darker blonde, and that's kind of the whole point here, is you're cooking out the flour and you're making this wonderful base to add all the other ingredients to. So the first thing I'm going to add is, this is part vegetable stock and beef stock. I'm going to add it slowly and mix or whisk as I add. Okay. While still whisking, I'm going to add our flavored ripple. Uh-oh, did you see that? I left the garlic in there. We'll fish that out later. Okay, and we're going to keep whisking to help the thickening process. And now I'm going to add the final ingredients, which is some tamari and some Dijon. And we whisk. I'm going to let this sit and cook and start to thicken about 2 or 3 minutes. I'm going to keep an eye on it and whisk it as needed as we go along. And then we're going to season with some salt and pepper and see if we need to add anything else. But I think we're going to be good. Okay, it's been 15 minutes and I'm pretty sure these meatballs are done. Oh, look at that. They look good. Look, all the juices are running clear. So I'm going to pull them out and let them cool down. And then we're going to eat some meatballs. These turned out amazing. I cannot believe how great they look. This is going to make a wonderful appetizer for any holiday party or any party whatsoever, I think. Or, again, you can decide to make this as a dinner. So instead of putting toothpicks in it and serving up like this, make some pasta, make some potatoes, use the gravy or the sauce, cream sauce, mix it in, and then add the meatballs. But I actually like eating them like this the best. So I am going to, eeny, meeny, miny, mo, I'm going for this one. Oh, here we go. Oh. Oh my God, those are so good. Now, I've never had an IKEA meatball, obviously, because I can't. They're not gluten and dairy free. I think these taste better, only because I know what I did to the recipe. That hint of the nutmeg and the allspice, the ginger and the celery salt in here, it's very, very subtle, but it brings a depth of flavor that's absolutely wonderful. And I am so happy with this cream sauce. I don't feel that it's not creamy. With the ripple, you always, at least for me, I taste a little bit in there, but it's not too much. I think it's really, really well balanced. Now, when I made the sauce, I didn't catch this on camera, it got a little thicker than I wanted. I may have walked away when I shouldn't have walked away. So I just added some more beef stock to it and a little bit more butter and just mixed it up and let it sit, and it was wonderful. And of course, I did have to add some salt and pepper. So the sauce, don't feel like if it's not tasting the way you want that you're done. You can add things to it and really change the whole flavor of that up or down, more salt, less salt, things like that. And then for the presentation, I just put some parsley, some chopped parsley over it, and I just love it. This is so good. I'm gonna have to eat another one, so I gotta go eat some meatballs. Thank you so much for watching. A link to the full recipe will be in the description below. And check out our Facebook group at facebook.com/group/gfexplorers. And you can also find so many more recipes at gfexplorers.com. And until next time, happy eating.